And everything's put on with magnets, right?
Did you see the back of these either?
No, I haven't.
See, they're magnets.
Oh, yeah. And everything's labeled.
Right. This is
Only on the umbrella.
number 1.
The umbrella's great.
Look underneath.
Isn't that super?
No,
Look how each
I haven't.
flower is. That's number 5. Let me find number 5.
Oh, it's bedazzled underneath, too.
Yeah.
Wherever in the illuminated.
And yeah, we have
got
lights
disco
that
lights in
shine up to it.
Oh, yeah.
No, y'all are doing good.
Okay.
I'm-
impressed.
I'm here with Cherie Smith, and she's a 4-time first place winner of the Houston Art Car Parade. And we're here to discuss why she's so successful. And my opinion is because she decorates or designs the car from the front to the back, the inside. Her and her co-pilot are in costumes which match the car itself. So do you want to talk more on that?
That is true. And I'm not really sure how that evolved, but it just seemed like the thing to do. The car itself was step by step. It started out with how many different flowers could I make out of soda pop cans? And that was for the first 3 years that we entered. This is completely different. This was what you can do with design. It was much more sophisticated. And honestly, I don't know why it was stem to tailpipe. I have no idea. It's just what it seemed it had to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the glitter, the number of flowers. Do you need any flowers? Just so happens.
No, actually, you did give me some, so
I have buckets full.
I wear them actually. You'll see me at an art opening with a
your
flower
flower.
on.
Oh.
Yeah, and you even have the license plate for the car.
I do. Yeah.
And is that Texas allows that, right?
Yeah, you pay for it.
But
Vanity plate. But
Yeah.
yeah, they do. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I think that's coming up.
and so she's retired this year.
I have that. This last year was its last year on the Judgment Parade.
And are you going to start a new car then?
Well, I sort of started one, and then I unstarted it. But yeah, I've been looking for one to do hubcaps. How do you pick a particular material? I don't know. I really don't know.
So you kind of like wait for the car to come. Because another thing about your car is I know it's not going to break down during the parade. And
Yeah, it'll wait till after.
But a lot of our cars are built on platforms that are not the best for putting a car on. They barely make it through the parade.
Well, as somebody asked me about this car, they wanted to know if it was a beater. And I said, well, it did have 147,000 miles on it, but I don't know, is that a beater? It might be.
Yeah, beater BMW.
Yeah.
But
in the second one, I was going to do Zippity, and it was I actually had a Porsche, and but that was just tragically expensive to keep. Even to keep in the driveway, it was tragically expensive. So that went bye-bye.
I know it gets rather expensive when you keep a running car specifically for the art car parade.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's the kind of thing that once you start doing it, it does become an obsession in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember after the first year, it took me 2 years to get it to that point. We drive through the parade. An hour later, it's all done, and I'm going, well, is that all there is? Never. I'm not doing this again. I mean, I probably hadn't been home more than 2 hours, and it's like, okay, what am I going to do next year? And it's been like that ever since. It's just, you can't stop.
And there are cars in the art car parade who are perennials that are favorites.
Yes.
So people get to know the cars around Houston like they're friends.
With their communities, they have clubs, the art car club, and so yeah, and that's actually, if somebody wants to do an art car, they're a really good source is the art car club, because not for getting a car, but for ideas or working with people, or if you get some mechanical bit that you need to add,
Mm-hmm.
they would be an excellent source to go to get it straight.
And I know living in Houston, you can see that our cars, there are some people's family cars. I see them around. Santa's always driving. Santa car is always around. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Brian, I think.
the station wagon with all the reflectors on.
Zebras.
Oh, the zebra people.
One of
yes.
my favorite is Rex the rabbit. He hasn't been out in a few years, but I do like Rex the rabbit.
One of my favorites, the luchadors, the masked wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
or the opera
awesome.
singer, whose hair are actually records that have been melted and twisted. Love that one.
So in Houston, the art car parade becomes almost, in a lot of ways, people's first introduction to art. Children are lining the streets, and it's so much fun to see.
And I have to tell you, an unexpected thing happened the first time it went out. And we're driving down the road, and people are waving and smiling, and they've just been sitting there, and they get their camera out, and they're going, "Oh, look at that one!" And it's like a drug. It's like, yeah, I know why politicians do this now.
Or people on stage.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like, oh, bathe me with love.
I know, and the city turns out for the parade, and it's the largest art car parade in the United States, I believe.
It was like 500,000. There were a lot of people. It's off and on. Last year was a little bit cool, so I think it kept some people away.
Yeah, although the heat tends to keep me away.
and they've gone back to Allen Parkway, so that's always good.
And so what's going to happen to pop art here? Now that she's retired, what's your plans?
What would I like in a perfect world?
Yeah, in a perfect world.
In a perfect world, I would have a gigantic garage, and she would be sitting in my gigantic garage, completely decorated. Okay, but in this imperfect world, it's gonna be right here, wrapped up, waiting for its next adventure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may just strip her all down and then start over. Girl, you've already done it. You took every inch of 2017 off and put on 2018.
The original one, it took me 80 hours to strip these off. And then when you stripped them off, it's like, ooh, now I have to sand it. Ooh, now I have to paint it. Ooh, now I have to put them all back on. So yeah, it took. That's where it's some inexplicable unexplainable desire to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It drives you through. I mean, I'm sitting out here. I'm still finding bits and pieces in the driveway, with my chiseling this bit off. But yeah. But then you have this.
I know. It's just, it gleams in the sun like nothing else.
No. The day I got that glitter,
Uh-huh.
I'd tried 3 different glitters and it was like, nah, nah, nah. And I got this AB glitter and I put it down and I actually howled at the sky because I realized how fabulous this was. Yeah.
I know in the parade when you guys catch the light in this thing, it just
Stunning.
is blinding. It
is.
is really magical.
Yeah, I'm not real good at reading lips.
Aurora Borealis.
AB, Aurora Borealis.
And it shows every color.
Yes, it does. Like a rainbow.
You hear our co-pilot off camera prompting. Okay, we're in Cherie's studio, and here you see the 4 awards. And right now we're going to talk about advice she gives to young artists just starting in using art car as a medium.
Yeah, you'd said that might be a question, and I thought that was interesting. I don't know if when I was young, I would have taken advice from anybody, but I would say my only advice is to be in a space that you like and do something that you like, and every day that you look at it, you go, I like that. It's the effect of the car. Every day I look at it, it's like, oh, that's fabulous. And that would be the thing that you should try to achieve, whatever it is, other than the first step, which is to get a car. But I would like to see everyone get an art car and make it changes who you are, I think.
It also seems like a real accessible medium because we all drive cars. And at the Houston Art Car Parade, you see high schools and junior highs get a car and then they dress it up. And then you see people like yourself who are pros who have done this for years. And then you see people are just there having fun. They do a one-off art car and just to have the sheer enjoyment. It's almost like a family project. So yeah. It really encompasses everyone.
Yes.
And but a lot of our cars are above and beyond, like yours, or there was a giant dinosaur that came in. I Tyrannosaurus Rex to size.
Right. Is this the one that
no, the
fire?
T-Rex. Yeah, there's a.
That's Scrap Daddy, I think.
Yeah, I mean that thing's incredible. So you see all these different levels of car, and it's cool that the parade is all inclusive, but specifically for artists. Like what pitfalls do you find when you're doing your car?
I think it would have to be different for everyone, starting from, the money to make it run, the supplies, and the first time that I went around and decided to do soda pop cans, it's really interesting. I was like buying them and maybe drinking them, maybe not drinking them, but people started giving me bags of cans and pull tabs, which I still got fairly recently, a bag of pull tabs. So yeah, it's really interesting. You can draw people in to help you get supplies and whatever else you need.
So put it out there that you're doing an art car, and you'll be surprised how many people will come in and
Yes.
to your song.
Yes. I mean, you start with your circle of friends, but it seemed to, from that circle of friends, there were circle of friends, and it grew. I mean, like some people I didn't even really know
Mm-hmm.
were providing supplies, so that was good.
That's awesome because I hadn't realized that. I know Sharon said, because I'm like a big Diet Coke drinker, that, hey,
Yeah.
we need cans. I'm like, shoot, I can provide
Especially
that.
silver. Especially silver, yes.
I know it, and it almost feels like even though I had zero hand in it other than drinking soda, I'm
Your
part of it.
cans, yeah.
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
probably
yeah.
got a can on there at
Yeah.
least. Yeah, that's true. That is
So
true.
that's cool that I never thought of the communal aspect of the art
Well,
card.
that was a surprise. A lot of it has just been an evolution. I mean, I actually can remember the first flower I made, the first one, and I'm photographing it and sending, what do you think? What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next challenge was, okay, how to attach them?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it was somebody at work that said, well, that's easy. Get magnets. And I went, oh, okay.
I know, and that way you can like take the car anywhere and break it down
Yes.
and then put it all back together, and it's all marked kind of like a
Sort of.
Christmas display. You know, you get it
Sort
all on
of.
there.
Yeah. There are probably about, that are not on the car, there are boxes. There are probably 100 flowers that I've made over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody needs any flowers, let me know. I've got boxes.
Now, another interesting thing you told me was that insurance companies actually insure our cars.
They do, as collectibles. So it's not insured as a car. It's insured as a collectible, and it's reasonable.
Oh, that's cool. So someone who spent all this time and money on the art car
right.
can actually insure the art car.
American collectors for a plug.
That's awesome because it shows that people are getting more and more involved in art car as a legitimate art medium.
You do have to show, they want to see some records.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see that what you've really done. So I guess there must be some sort of minimum. I'm not sure if you put a blanket over your car and sewed a few socks on it, that would actually work as a collectible. But yeah. I
know some people make a tarp or a painting and they sew it. It's almost like a quilt covering a car, and that's their art car.
Yeah, okay.
And but you're right, you can't insure that because you can take it right off, and the family car is back there again.
And that's sort of I don't know, is that a commitment? I wish I had a daily driver. That would be lovely. And I'm hoping, I would like to do one called Hubbub, which are hubcaps. I've actually started a collection of hubcaps.
Oh, okay. So we're anticipating the next art car.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to get a car first. I mean, there is that bit about it, is that you have to get it inspected, insured. You have to do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a certain amount of maintenance. So it's a commitment. It's a commitment, and you may or you may not win.
Yeah.
So there's not necessarily funds for it.
Well, what's the upside to winning first place other than the award and the pat on the back?
For the Houston Art Car Parade, for the ones that I were in, it was $1,500.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
Oh,
that's like $6,000 worth of trophies, right?
Yeah, for a $20,000 car. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I've had some repairs. That's what would be absolutely fabulous is to get a new car. And I've tried to, people say, "Oh, I'll give you my car," and I'm going, Gimme. So,
Yeah, I don't have a car to give. I just have
and
one.
here's my other recommendation: get a convertible. Because what's the point of an art car if it's not a convertible?
Yeah, and have you done grand marshal duty too? I mean,
Almost. We were number one. We were gonna take the mayor, but sadly, it's a small car, and they wanted the family to be part of the grand marshal.
yeah,
So
there was
that
no way to
no
get a
one
whole family. Yeah.
one person maybe. So
Well, thank you for letting us in your studio and looking at the art car. And I hope people out there
go get an art car and
start their art cars. It doesn't matter who you are, just have fun.
or make a go-kart. Make one out of a 3D printer.
Or do what some people do, the lounge chairs with motors.
Love them. Love them. Ice cooler with motorized ice cooler.
I know. So go online, look up Houston Art Car, and you'll see just some amazing stuff. And thank you, Cherie.